For this purpose, it is critical that the company should define well or very clear goals and work efforts for each employee, right? Until the goals are being defined very clearly, people will not have a clarity on what is it that needs to be worked on. And if they're not very clear of what is that needs to be worked on, there is no question of how do you measure their performance. Each employee should clearly know his performance goals and work effort. He should know towards which direction he is working each day. It is essential that goals and work effort defined should be specific, measurable, challenging, particularly feasible, and encourages participation. Now, these are very critical things when you set up your goals to manage. The main purpose of any organization is to make sure that all the employees work towards the strategic goal of the company. Right? Everybody from their angle, when they see they're supposed to look at the strategic overall goal of the organization and how each one is contributing towards that goal. Like from the goal which is there from the organization or the top management will cascade down to individuals, and then individuals work towards a level where it will be in a position to reach the overall company strategic goal. The best defined performance goals are SMART goals, which are specific and clearly state the desired results. Any goal which is not specific, which has an ambiguity, will not be defined, will not be an appropriate goal to have, right? We would not be able to reach or achieve that. So goals needs to be specific and clear, and it should state what are the results that it is expecting out of it. Measurable is answering how much, right? All goals needs to be measurable. Whichever specific things that you have put, you need to have a measurement to it. How do I check where am I in the goal? How do I check in the end? How am I checking going to be in between intervals when I look at it? How do I check my goals? Am I progressing or not progressing? A stands for attainable and not too tough or too easy. Goals that we set for teams should be challenging for them. Challenging goals are interesting for them to work towards it. They should have a goal which they should have this confidence that I'll be able to achieve it. Maybe it is tough, but we'll work towards it. Goals that are set too easy are also not a great goals, because it's too easy to achieve and then people really don't feel challenged. And when they are not feel challenged, they do not get motivated to do what they do. R stands for relevant. Relevant to what to be achieved. Right? It should be very relevant to the overall scheme of things. What exactly is that what you want to achieve, and that should be very clearly mentioned. T stands for timely. Timely in reflecting deadlines and milestones. If a timeline is not set to a goal, then it is for eternal and you would never see a progress happening there. A goal needs to be very, very specific. You need to have different parameters to measure it. It needs to be attainable and at the same time relevant for the overall strategic goal, and it should be a time bound. That's typically how you define a performance goal. When we say performance criteria, it is essential to define these criteria for conducting performance appraisals. Hence, performance criteria is an important determinant of performance. Right? When we expect somebody to do a particular job and set a goal, we also need to set different criteria. How do we go about it? How do we measure it? How are they performing? How do we give feedbacks to them so that they improve over there and work towards achieving the overall goal? Performance criteria helps to translate job requirements into levels of acceptable or unacceptable employee behaviors. Performance criteria play a critical role in the job analysis or performance appraisal linkage. It is critical to define these criteria, as it is important to have a standard by which you compare good behavior. If the standard is not set, then you would not be in a position to measure it. You would not be in a position to understand it. What behavior is considered good, what behavior is considered progressive towards achieving the goals. Hence, you see, predictors are what the company looks for in an individuals while hiring, and criteria is the evidence of a good employees. That's typically what they look for. It is important to note here that there is always a gap observed between theoretical or the ideal criteria versus actual criteria. Right? There's always a gap, and we need to be mindful to understand these things, how theoretically we want it and ideally how do that entire thing is measured. Now there's this concept of leading by examples. Let's understand what leading by example is all about and how do we work towards it. Leadership is a process in which an individual influences the behavior and attitudes of other people. Leading by example helps other people see what lies ahead and act swiftly to counter any challenges along the way. If a group is led by a person with poor leadership skill, the group will experience frequent conflicts as each person wants to do things their own way. All would not go in one direction which is required. One of the responsibilities of a leader is to inspire others, right? Inspire people to do the best that they can do for the benefit of the organization. When I say inspiring people, is understanding the cause by the leader himself so clearly that he'll be able to explain it and take hundreds of people with him, along him, and see how things move. To achieve this, the leader must show them the way getting involved in the process. Leading by example is how it is, right? When you say I take people along with me, I basically lead them, and I lead them by example. Say, however, like if a CEO leading by example, everything that he does, everything that he exhibits is how others perceive, and they follow it in a very, very similar way. Whether it be very, very positive thing or a negative thing, people will see how leader is doing and then they follow, and that's what leading by example. The expenses, for example, a CEO is changing his furniture very frequently, or a CEO is changing his laptop very frequently. The employees will not take him seriously, and they will also continue with the spending because that's the example that they have seen. In the other side, if CEO stops unnecessary expenditure in his own say offices or his own for his own work and maximizes towards increasing revenue, then employees will often follow that. See, anything that a leader exhibits is something that employees tend to follow, and that's typically how it happens. Listen to the team. Sometimes a leader may get too busy giving directives and managing the teams so that they forget to listen other leaders and even their followers. A good leader should understand that they do not know everything and they can learn something new from the most junior employee as well, right? Leaders are leaders because they're like on a perch and they can see things which they could achieve, which is a little far, which others could not see. But at the same time, when it comes to level of an expertise, it is always different people. Right? When you listen to them properly is only when you understand what needs to be done and how it needs to go. Also, most organizations hire staffs based on their expertise and experience, isn't it? In specific fields. And the leader should learn to interact and listen to all employees. When you have an expert with you, and you in a situation where you need to decide if an expert advice is not being considered, is not being listened to, and then you make a call on it, then it is just the ownership, or it's just the leadership that is talking, not a leader who involves his team and understands and takes the advantage of the knowledge and skills that he hired in making a decision. So listen to the teams very clearly. See, if to give an example, there is some financial decisions needs to be taken. It's important to take the advice of the chief financial officer or the people who are working in those finance teams, which will help them to understand it more, and then that will help the leader to take the decision ahead. So there are 6 ways of leading by example. The first one is called as listen to the team. The second way is respect the chain of command. The third way is get your hands dirty. The fourth one is deliver on promised results. Fifth one is about resolve conflicts quickly, and the sixth one is value people. Let's understand all the ways of leading people by example in little more details. The second way is respect the chain of command. Organizations implement an organizational structure so that each person in the company knows how to report to it. If a leader fails to observe this chain of commands, there will be a confusion in the organization and the employees will be demoralized. Also, if the leader does not respect the chain of command, then employees will find it hard to report to their seniors, and this may cause disharmony among the employees. It's very, very important that a leader follows a chain of command, because people understand like that. It might be sometimes where you find leaders are more involved and they want to get into everything and understand everything from everybody, and inquiring on all these things is all fine to a level. But when it comes to command, there has to be a chain which is there in place, and then people need to follow it the way it's supposed to be. The third one is get your hands dirty. Although leaders are meant to give directions, they should know their trades well and get involved in actual work as well, right? Until they experience the work, they wouldn't know what really works and what doesn't really work. It's important that leaders get on the field and then work towards it. I was fortunate to work with one of the startup organization where we deliver products to customers in their house, and you would be surprised to see our CEO makes a monthly visit, mandatory monthly delivery visit. So typically he dresses up like an associate, gets onto the truck, goes to individual houses to deliver and deliver the product. 90% of the time the customer might not even recognize who has come to deliver and what. But the other time when they recognize, they're astonished, they're shocked to understand. But most of the learnings for the organization would come from there, where CEO has actually went on field and experienced by himself the troubles what happens. Otherwise, staying far away, we might feel this is very simple, this can be done, or this is very complicated, this can't be done. But until you go and check by yourself, you do it, you will understand what is possible, what is productive, what is not productive, and what we need to invest on. The leaders should pitch clients the same way the marketing staff is doing, maybe, right? And this will boost the overall morale of the team. The way a delivery team was talking to the CEO who went visited these things, he needs to talk in the same way, he needs to follow the same process, and then see whether this is easy, not easy. Not only with the leaders, leaders develop new skills and knowledge, but you will also build trust with the employees. Now when this CEO I was talking about comes back and tells us something, this is something you need to implement, this is something which you can do it, we know it, we respect it, and we work towards it because he has experienced it by himself. He has dirties his hand in that, and then he learned and he's teaching us these things. Getting involved in the actual trade gives the leader a snapshot of the challenges that the marketing or the delivery or any team staff go through, and help work out ways to make it more easier. The fourth one is deliver on promised result. Good leaders must deliver actual results rather than just giving promises everywhere, or in every time. They must work towards getting tangible results and focus less on the past achievements that they have not been able to equal afterwards. Say for example, when I teach somebody how to do a sale in a retail store, we typically go there on the store and use the same techniques of selling and then show them how a sale can be done, right? So one, we are dirtying our hands in the experience. Two, we're also delivering on the promised result. We are saying if you do in this particular way, you would be able to expect this particular result. Leaders can accomplish this by learning the art of delegation as well, right? Where they can break down the larger task into smaller manageable tasks that can be assigned to one or more employees, and then follow up how things are happening, right? Any promise that is made, when you keep it, is when everyone working with you will also keep their promises. People will look at you, observe you, and do what you do. Not just they do what you say, they do what you do. They can then follow up to check if there was any work done according to the required standard. Delegating duties actually helps to achieve results within short time while getting everybody involved. Resolves conflicts quickly is the fifth way. Conflicts often arise in organization between employees, leaders, or leaders versus leaders, or leaders versus employees. It could be anybody, right? How quickly the conflicts are resolved determines how competent a leader is, right? The moment you see a conflict as not a conflict between people, but between a thought process or between a particular situation, and you break it and how quickly you provide them a resolution, it shows how competent a leader is.
A good leader should arbitrate when conflict arises to prevent the disagreement from stealing projects within the company.
The employees should see that the leader has the heart and the mind to embrace challenges so as not to break the organization. The sixth way is value people. Appreciating the contribution of other people in an organization helps strengthen the relationship between the leader and the followers. The leader should exhibit good communication and listening skills such that no employees will feel inferior to other persons within the organization. Also, the leader should be honest, fair, and open to discussion that touch on the welfare of the employees. Valuing the contribution of employees in the organization enhances the leader's ability to interact with people in a meaningful way. Few important why leaders needs to, or what do they get, or what are the benefits when we say when we lead by example, is we would be in a position to build an organizational cohesiveness, right? When companies executives do a good job by leading by example, the personnel will show more commitment to achieve the organization goal.
They will drop the me mentality and will take up the we and combine efforts to ensure to achieve the periodic targets.
Respect and trust could be the other benefits. A leader who leads by example positions himself as a credible person who deserves to be respected and trusted by the seniors and juniors. The staff sees the leader as a person who understands their problems, right then as a person only who gives them instructions rather than the one who's a problem solver for them. A leader could be a trend setter. The action of leaders serves as an unspoken standard for what is appropriate for the organization and what is not. The personnel who is observing this behavior of the leader and use it as a benchmark in deciding how to present themselves. That's how leading by example would be helpful. When we say guiding, motivating and mentoring teams, it works out when we share your vision and set clear goals. When the vision is shared and the goals are set clear, it would be easier for us to guide, motivate and mentor teams. Communicate with your staff properly. Encourage teams. A healthy office environment is something that needs to be created. Give positive feedbacks and reward your team accordingly. Provide opportunities for development. Now, when these points we discuss in little quick details could go like this. Sharing your vision and set clear goals. You can only motivate and inspire your team if they know what they are working towards. Make sure your employees are aware of your vision and what your ultimate goals are for the businesses. Right? This encourages everyone to work together to achieve better result, as well as this regularly set clear and measurable goals that are framed by this vision so that you and your teams can track progress and they're able to see their success in a tangible way. This cultivates productivity and helps employees to feel valued and motivated.
Communicating with your staff. Part of clear goal setting relies on effective communication with your team.
Communication is a two-way street and you should make sure that there is constant flow of communication between you and your employees. Right? That's how this entire stuff works. This way you can not only keep them up to date with what needs to be done, but you also listen to their ideas, their opinions and their feedbacks. This will ultimately have a positive impact on your business as they may approach dilemmas in different ways to go. Check in regularly with your teams and give them opportunity to come and talk to you. Make sure you are available to contact and be open and approachable in your attitude and communication. Encourage teamwork. The best kind of companies, those where everyone works together cohesively. Encouraging and promoting teamwork boosts productivity because it makes employees feel less isolated and helps them to feel more engaged with their tasks. You can do this by regularly holding team building exercises and opportunities for your team members to bond and to get to know each other. A healthy office environment is very important. Our environment has a significant impact on our productivity. Healthy and happy employees are more likely to feel motivated and engaged. Right? By promoting health habits, you can help your staff to maintain their energy levels and reduce their stress. Giving positive feedbacks and rewards on time is again very critical thing for ensuring how do you measure individual and group performance. The power of positive prizes is sometimes overlooked by recognizing and uploading achievements inspires team members as they can see themselves progressing towards the goal of the company. When employees achieve results, put in extra effort or do outstanding work, make sure you tell them that you are grateful and be specific to your prizes. For example, don't just say good job, explain why it is a good job and how it helped and benefited the organization. This will not only motivate your employees but help them to succeed with future work as well. Reward your team to hard work, whether this is in the form of monetary rewards, gifts, perks, more responsibilities and independence. Provide opportunity for development. Right? Everyone wants to move ahead in career and move ahead in life, and you need to provide enough and more opportunities how they can develop. Team members feels more valuable when they are learning and enhancing their skills. To motivate and inspire your team to achieve great result, you should provide your employees with opportunities and growth and development. These opportunities should be tailored specifically to suit the individual employees and can be in the form of further trainings, setting challenging targets, inviting an employee to shadow you, or spreading your time teaching and mentoring somebody. Focus on teaching your team transferable skills they could use in different positions and encourage them to set themselves in the learning goals.